Now with Dave Brown presents Road to the Paralympics. Co-host Alex Smyth sits down with para-athlete Nathan Clement, paracycler.
Nathan, thank you so much for chatting with me today.
Thank you for having me, Alex.
So first off, for someone who doesn't know, can you describe your sport and specifically your discipline?
So I compete as a paracyclist on the road. Now in paracycling, we have 4 different categories. The hand bike for people who are more in like a recumbent bike, usually have leg amputations or a spinal cord injury or various other disabilities like that. Then we have the C category or the cycle category. And there's often people who are on 2-wheel bikes with adaptations for their condition and for their disability. And then there's the tandem category where you have a visually impaired rider called the stoker on the back of the bike. And you have someone who can see at the front who's called a pilot, and they try to be as synchronized as possible. And then there's my classification, the trike category. And for me, as someone who has limited use of my left arm and my left leg, the trike adds that extra stability, that extra balance while I'm racing, as I have 1 wheel in the front, 2 wheels in the back. All the braking, all the gearing is on the right side for me because I have no real grip strength or grip movement in my left side. So in the trike, we have 2 categories there. We have the T1 and the T2. The T2 is less affected. I'm in the T1 as I have more of affected range and affected movement, especially when stress or high exertion comes. So I very much have instances where my arm will fly off the handlebars, and in moments you don't want it to happen, but it just makes life more spicy that way. But overall, it's a really cool world, and it's great to be a trike rider.
Now, Nathan, you've had a phenomenal 2023 and start to your 2024 season. How do you continue to build that momentum and carry that success that you've already had into Paris?
I think the biggest thing for me is I have a great foundational team around me. I have an amazing mom and dad who are super supportive. I have a grandma who's always fighting in my corner, as well as I have a great coach in Phil Abbott. I also have a great strength and conditioning team, and everyone around me is really supporting, really trying to take care of me. And I feel with that sort of crew, it helps bring that confidence out throughout the season and hopefully going into the summer.
With that team, tell me a bit more. How have how does it feel to be able to share the kind of the success you've had with them and all the support they've given you? You can show, hey, this is what your support has let me be able to do.
It means a lot. When I had the stroke at the age of 2.5, my mom and dad were told the odds of me walking, talking, reading, or writing was next to none. So from a very young age, my parents were in that we have to fight for Nathan at all costs just to give him any chance at whatever a normal life is, but any opportunity. And for them to see me just kick a soccer ball for the first time, as that was my first sport, was soccer, or just be able to swim a length of the pool, meant the world. And to have these successes and have had the opportunity to be a Paralympian in swimming and now chasing it again in cycling is something super special. And I think for us, we're all in a place of gratitude and very, very grateful that we have this second opportunity in sport just to celebrate, let alone winning a world championship, which when I started cycling was always a dream as an athlete, but to dream it and then actually to do it is 2 completely different things. So just being on this roller coaster of a ride, we're just super grateful, and I'm very lucky that I have them and so many other people who I can celebrate and take in all these experiences, the highs, but also the lows too.
And what is it about cycling that you just connect with, you just love, that just kind of lets you feel like this is something you want to compete at a high level with?
I love the freedom that cycling brings, and that was the same case as a swimmer too, just that freedom of movement I had in the pool. But with cycling, living in a city like Vancouver, I have the mountains, I have the ocean, I have farmland, I pretty well have any aspect of riding I want within about a 25, 30, 50 kilometer range for myself. And just being able to get out, whether it's a rainy day, which is most of the days in Vancouver, but also those sunny days, there's just a deep appreciation for the nature and also the backdrops I have. And I just love the sport. I love that challenge of pushing yourself beyond your limits and going beyond. And I'm very lucky I have a great crew and a great team of people that helps fuel that extra fire when I know there's like a camp or a competition coming up. I get to see these people and I get to spend time with them. So it's a great motivation and just a great love, and just the power of conversation in this sport is so great. There's so many times when I'm out on the bike and someone might have a question about the trike or why am I riding this thing? And it's just a great way to welcome people into the parasport world, but also hear their stories and just really learn and grow in life. So it's a great gift.
You mentioned your time in the water. You were able to compete at Rio in swimming. What lessons did you take from the pool to bring with you that you can apply to racing and cycling?
I think the biggest thing for me is, especially as my time as a swimmer, I did not have a really good mental health balance, where I was very hard on myself, very demanding. Anytime I had a bad set, a bad practice, I would just tear myself apart. And it led to a lot of mental health issues and a lot of struggles with depression. And that was a very, very tough time for me as an athlete and as a person. But through that, I realized, especially when I finished my time as a swimmer, I was starting to get my balances right and trying to take care of myself, that self-care, which is so important for so many people and even myself. And knowing the importance of self-care and that self-love and translating that into cycling really helped me in this sport. But also, I was very fortunate to have amazing coaches from the West Vancouver Otters like Norman Ning, and even with the Canadian Paraswimming national team like Craig McCord, who taught me so many great lessons of what it means to be an athlete, what it means to be a high performance, what it means to be a professional para athlete, and just really taking on the discipline that's needed, the need for that sort of leadership, but also that strength and confidence that you exude in training every day and being critical, but also learning that balance of what did you do right in that practice? What did you do right in that set? And trying to find the positives and taking the positives out of different aspects of the sport.
And when it comes to cycling, have you been able to find that more positive experience, that more positive reaction and feeling when you are on the bike than when you were in the pool and you were suffering with those mental health challenges?
I feel like I have. Now I'm 29 years old. I was 21 at the time when I was a swimmer. So I've had a lot of growth. I've had a lot of opportunity to take on new experiences in life and open up about my mental health, most importantly, is something that I've shared with people. I've spoken to kids, I've spoken to auditoriums of people about my mental health. And when you're opening up about that in front of 1,000 people you don't know, that's quite a way of taking care of yourself and just pushing out of your comfort zone at times. And I feel like just being open about it and having those sorts of conversations has really helped me understand when I'm on a ride of, am I feeling good? Am I feeling all right? Okay, what's going on if I'm not feeling all right? Is there something going on with my legs that I need to take care of? Because as I had an incident in February of this year where I was out for a ride and I was feeling really good in the first 40 minutes of it. And then all of a sudden my legs just stopped working. An older me would have pushed through, but right away I realized and identified that, okay, this is not working right now. There's no point in me just pushing myself beyond my limit and messing up a couple days of training coming up, or the next week or the next 2 weeks of training. I need to get home. I need to rest and recover. So those sorts of balances and that sort of learning from that time as a swimmer, transitioning through the X amount of years that's taken me to be in this spot now, chasing the opportunity to be in Paris, has really helped me learn and grow in that sort of balance of self-care and self-love.
What are you kind of focused on as you prepare for Paris?
I think for me is first getting that official letter that I've qualified for the games. And then once I get to Paris, it is aiming for the podium. But even just being in Paris is just taking that chance to celebrate sport and celebrate the opportunity and this privilege that we get to represent our countries, get to go to a games and get to race against some of the best athletes in the world. And that's sort of where my focus is taking this experience in and really reveling in it and just trying to get the most out of it. Because I was very lucky in Rio 2016. I was not supposed to be on the swim team. I was one of those athletes where I had coaches, other teammates told me, it's like, hey, better wait for Tokyo. The odds of you making this team aren't that high. Yet I made Rio. And when I was there in Rio, it was an experience where I enjoyed it. I loved it. I had no pressure. There was the one race I had no pressure at was the Paralympics, because my gold medal was just being there. And now there's going to be expectations going into Paris and hopefully good results at the end of it. But taking that sort of mindset of just celebrate this moment in time and celebrate this experience and just take it all in.
What does it mean to be able to don that maple leaf and represent Canada?
It means a lot. It really means a lot. As for myself, when I left swimming, I thought I was done with high performance sport forever. I thought that was it for me. And to have this chance to wear it again is very special. And it means a lot to me, but it's also a celebration of all the people who've helped me get to that point. Because when you're wearing that maple leaf for Canada, it's not just you up there. It's your parents, it's your friends, it's your strength and conditioning coach, your coach, but also your community too. Because especially in a sport like cycling, it's a very costly sport. And so many other para sports are that way too. And you need that community support. You need that community help, and just it's celebrating the grocers, it's celebrating the bike shops that help you, it's celebrating every single person who's helped you get to that point. And it is just a giant celebration of the community you come from and the people that helped you get there.
Nathan, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Alex.
Now with Dave Brown, weekdays at 9 a.m. Eastern on AMI-télé. Watch highlights, now streaming on AMI+.
Do you want to dive into more conversations like this? Watch Now with Dave Brown weekdays at 9 a.m. Eastern on AMI-télé or download the podcasts wherever you listen.